All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the monthly. This is September 2024, Industry Leadership with Brian Hale. We are keeping the pace every month this year, Brian. We have done an industry update together. So thank you for that commitment and thank you for always doing it.
Thank you. Glad to do it. Excited to be here as always.
Yeah. So, well, this is going to be a fun one. So, for any brand new loan officers, or this is the first time you've seen me interview Brian, he is a prolific leader in the industry. Uh, used to, for if you're new, you probably don't know who Countrywide was, but he ran national production for Countrywide. He was one of America's most successful loan officers. So he's one of the people that knows the street, was super successful in the street, became C-suite leader, and then has been CEO for a number of large mortgage organizations. Today, he is coaching, consulting executive teams, and involved in a lot of the M&A work that's happening in the mortgage space. So he's really got a very unique perspective. He also has a platform, the weekly roadmap. So he's got a platform where he does interviews of his own. And anyway, someone that I listen to, that I want to know what he thinks about the current market, and hopefully, if you're watching this, you're going to get a lot of value from it. So Brian, I'm not even going to frame what's happening in the market right now because it's kind of a exciting and wild
Let's
market.
just say there's a lot. How's that?
There's a lot. So
There's a
where,
lot.
where do
There's a
you
lot
want to
happening. Yeah.
what? And here's how I like to start. Like, there's a lot of data signals. There's a lot of new things. What's the big signal right now? And what are you talking to executives and C-suite about right now?
Well, I would probably break it into three pieces. One is more the C-suite. The other is what I would refer more to street level, tactical, and what do you need to know today kind of thing, right? The two things that strike me as street level items are obviously the Fed move last week, implications of it, why rates didn't move more, right? That kind of thing. We can talk about that a little bit. The second, and you've been talking about this now for like 2 months, the commission lawsuit settlements on the realtor side and the impact to our business. And just as a side note, Dave, I had on the weekly roadmap just last 2 weeks ago, I had a guy that runs a big AMC. It's a national AMC, but happens to be based in Las Vegas. Brent Jones, a really quality guy, super smart guy in the space. And he did 35, 40 minutes on my weekly roadmap on, this is sound bizarre, appraisal implications for companies and originators as a result of the commission lawsuit settlements. And I can tell you with great confidence, most companies have yet to focus on the appraisal implications and what can and is already happening in the appraisal side, which will impact the ability to close transactions. So one of the things I was going to offer you, we have that snippet cut out as a standalone video. Be glad to offer it to you as well to post out to some of your folks, because I think it's really good industry knowledge and some of the stuff where I can tell you, we had a couple hundred people on the call that morning. We had a bunch of people watch it via podcast, and the commentary and just the notes I got after the fact of going, I had no idea. I had no idea. Oh my God, this is happening like right now, right? And how should we be dealing with this? And how appraisers have to think about the buyer paid commissions and how those factor in. And if the seller's paying, do they count against, seller concessions? Does that affect value? There's a ton. And it's one of those things where I think everybody's focused kind of on the impact to realtor commissions and the impact to sales and how do you help your agent referral partners. And then this appraisal thing just strikes me as something that can begin to bite people in the where, simply because people aren't focused on it and companies haven't thought, okay, what's our credit policy around when this happens? How do we work on the appraisal? How do things get written up so that the appraiser is aware of it? And how do they deal with it? And the second piece, I'll just tell you, and this is just from 42 years of doing this, I'll assure you there's a bunch of appraisers are not yet current or have thought through these issues. Some of the folks that are, do a lot of business or run their own companies or that kind of thing have had to focus on it. So the two big issues, I think, and then are those Fed interest rates moves, what's happening, spreads, all that kind of thing. 2 is the commission lawsuits and all that goes into that, much of which you've been talking about for a couple of months. And then I would say the last but not least is, your concept of mum, right? And it's something I've been harping on literally every week in the weekly roadmap of helping people think through, not to, okay, I've got a CRM or I've got a database with all my past customers and clients and leads in it, and I'm sending them a birthday card and an anniversary card and congratulations, you've been in the house for 2 years card. Wrong. All good stuff to do. But you got to get on video or on the phone with these customers now, not like 3 weeks from now, to be talking about what the customer's refi strategy is. Because how long, Dave, have we heard the message in the industry for the last couple of years? Buy the house, rent the rate. Well, people have rented the rate. Now they're looking for you as a mortgage professional to help them think through their strategies. And here's the piece that I'm just blown away by this. The reluctance of originators to reach out aggressively, talk to Mr. Savage, my past customer that I closed, a year ago or 9 months ago at the peak of interest rates, and say, Dave, let's schedule some time today. How about tomorrow to talk about how you're going to get a better rate and what your timing is. Is it something you want to move on now? You want to wait? But if you're going to wait, should you apply now so you're ready to pull the trigger when you're ready? All of those things, I'm just blown away at the reluctance. And here's the other thing I will tell you. Servicers, the big aggregators, and this is no knock, these are all friends of mine, the PennyMacs of the world, the AmeriHomes of the world, the Freedoms of the world. You and I, we've heard, Stan Middleman at Freedom talk about his strategies in the past. What I can tell you is the big servicers are talking to your customer now because that loan got sold to them over the last year and a half. They're not waiting. They're on this thing with an aggressive price, with a big offer, with their call center people and their power dialers. And if you haven't called them as of today, you may already be too late, but you should be on the phone. You should be on the phone. And I would recommend get on video, and I would record a quick bomb video or some kind of video, text it out to your customer and say, hey, if you haven't been paying attention, people are busy, rates are down, we should talk. So anyway, I don't know if those are the big 3, but those are 3 that I think
those are
really
good. So let me kind of, now that I know what's on your mind, let me unpack it. Let's see how much time we have on the appraisal, and not because I don't think it's important.
And again, I'll shoot you the video so we can save time and you can post it out.
Yeah, well, 2 things. One, if you're watching this, there will be a link in show notes on YouTube to that video. Brian will share it with me. Also, I can guarantee you he's shared it on his own LinkedIn profile. So if you're not following Brian on LinkedIn, follow Brian on LinkedIn. I'm sure it's within the past week or 2.
It is.
But the link will literally be down below. So let's if we get to that,
35 minutes, listen to it and internalize it, and then ask your company, what's our policy? So
boom.
That's kind of the end of that.
So I have been doing a lot of interviews, and I did one with Alfonso Esposito today. Great mortgage advisor out of the New Jersey market. He's with Rate, formerly G-Rate. And the title was refis and realtors, how to win refis and realtors in this market. And so I feel like let's do first half refis and share best practices. I do know, and I would love your opinion on this, that servicers have never been more geared up than they have.
Or ready. Never been more ready.
More ready. And they have leaner margins, so their price is sharper.
Yes.
So
they have lower commissions because they're call center, originators.
Right. So if you were talking to a head of production, and let's say on this call right now, we had a head of production, we had a regional leader, and we had a loan officer, what would you be telling them to proactively tune up their price so that they're going into battle when they're competing with the servicer in the most proactive way possible? How should they be looking at the refi battle?
Yeah. So I could well be a dinosaur here, Dave. So what I'm about to say, people go, oh, man, I would never do that, or I'd never respond to it. But here's the deal. Opportunity has no shelf life. You don't seize on it, poof, goes away. Just goes away, right? So one, if I was a production leader or a regional manager or branch manager, whatever the case may be, I'm getting paid on other people's production somehow, some way. I would set myself on fire on video to create a sense of urgency that you don't have a burning platform. Some people use that metaphor. You have a burning opportunity. It's crisping as we speak. Money. People have struggled for the last 2 years. Now, not some of the top originators, like the gentleman you just mentioned, or Giant, or the Worlds, and whatever, they've done well, great, super. But I'll bet you they're all over this already, right? That's one of the reasons they're a 1%er. But the lack of urgency drives me nuts because it's an opportunity to make you whole economically over the second half of this year, the last period of this year, and into early next year. Because guess what? Purchase volume is not going to simply erupt below us. Rates haven't come down far enough. We just went back to school season. People don't buy houses while they're putting their kids in a new school. They wait till closer to Thanksgiving. They want to close before the holidays. They want to do those things. I think we'll see some improvement. Inventories are up, but you're not going to get a big surge of purchase business until we break into the fives, right? Well down, in my opinion. Secondly, you have a real opportunity in the last period of this year, the fourth quarter, to take advantage of this refi boomlet. And it's going to be a lot more like refi booms of the past.
Did you
Five,
say
six,
boom?
seven.
By the way, did you use the word boomlet?
Boomlet. Yeah. Because I don't think it's a boom. I think it's a boomlet.
I know. I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure I heard the new word.
Right. Because
Boomlet.
especially some of
We're in a
your new
boomlet,
folks, Dave,
everybody.
some of your new folks who went through 20 and 21, they think that's what a refi boom looks like. It's the only one that's ever happened in history like that. Normally they last 4 to 7 months. Boom, out, time out, done, right? Because you just run out. And so the lack of willingness to engage the person, and I hear this all the time, well, I've got them in my CRM and I send regular notices out to them, things they can put on the refrigerator and all this kind of, I'm like, oh my gee. How about using the persuasion of your personality and knowledge and skill set and get them on the phone, use some of your tools to help people understand the cost of a new loan versus the old loan, those kinds of things. And be an advisor, be a coach, mortgage coach, be a coach, right, to your clients about how to think about what other people are telling them. And oh, by the way, if they were contacted by a servicer 15 days ago or 20 days ago and they applied, they may go, oh, I've already applied. No, rates are down since then. You have an opportunity to reset the thermometer again. There needs to be a process. And if I'm a sales leader, this is not a suggestion. This is not a, hey, here's something to do. Here's something that maybe you could make more money. This ought to be a frog march drill of holding people accountable daily, weekly. Have you done this? What's gone out? Measure in your CRM. Are people using them? Are people sending, are they texting a quick 20-second video out to their clients? Can they report back to you that they've touched every client above a certain interest rate in their CRM or database? So I don't think you can leave it to chance. It shocks me, people who are 100% commission, to be unwilling to reach out to the customer and to kind of rehearse what their pitch is, because it's in the customer's interest, but of course it's in your interest, right, as an originator. So that's one. Two, as the originator, just a sense of urgency, right? Do it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be super slick. You can simply call somebody up as a friend and as an advisor to your past customer, say, look, let me help you.
So let me show you a graphic that I'm going to actually be presenting this at a keynote tomorrow. And I pulled this off of the Borrow Smart University blog. Thank you, Todd Bellinger, for doing such a great job of sharing cool graphs. But I thought this gave some pretty cool perspective. You know, each one of these bars is showing how many mortgages are at those different interest rate tiers.
Yep.
And to your point, things get really interesting at five, or a little under
Oh,
five.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's like maybe more than a boomlet when that happens. But right now, guys, we have entered the opportunity zone. So we are now, I love this little term, in the opportunity zone. And you notice how it's growing. According to Optimal Blue in our Rate Watch app, conforming rates are at 6.1 today at aggregate nationwide, and they're at 6.49 on jumbos. So, guys, we're not really even in the first inning. We're in the pregame. But
Dave,
how you
could you put that graphic back up for just a second? Can I make one comment?
yeah, hang on, let me go back to
So let
it.
me just by way of preview, there's a little north of $12 trillion of outstanding mortgages in the United States. So if you are 15% above 6.5, and I think it's actually higher than, I think it's closer to 18 or 19% above 6.5, which I think is the opportunity zone, that and north, right? Certainly people you should be talking to right now, even at 6.5. If you take 15% of $12 trillion, it's about 2.2 trillion dollars of mortgages that are in the money today. That's more than we have financed, nearly more than we have financed in the last 2 years as an industry.
Wow.
And as rates continue to trend down, as you know, every tick down, another group of customers become in the money. And that is the customer you also have to be talking to. Even I'd be talking to mine at 6 and 5 3/4 if I was an
Yeah,
originator.
well, and from what I'm hearing from the street, this is America's balance sheet, guys. There's never been more credit card debt.
Right.
There's never been more equity. And so you're starting to see
Right.
more and more people like, how can I, one, optimize my equity? And remember, I love the script I got from Dan Keller on Friday. We had Dan at it, and he's going in and letting people know that, hey, this is a two refi market or a multiple refi market. And he's
Yes.
like, hey, let's get your equity out on the first one because we'll take the pricing hit. And then when we do the next loan, it'll be a pure rate and term refi. So guys,
Right.
you need to really think strategically that
Yes.
that
What's the sell? What's the sell? Right?
yeah,
What's
what's
the
the
what's the
sell?
pitch?
And then another really good move, this came up between $200 million producers, Daniel Saw and Jeremy Forcier. And they're starting to see people where like, well, should I refi now or should I wait? And they're like,
Yes.
refi now. Refi
Yes.
now.
The answer
Well,
is
no,
yes to both.
but they're visually showing them, hey, you should refi now.
Yes.
And then look what the next refi looks like. Hey,
Yes.
and you're scheduling the next refi based off of a rate. And now we'll save you $600 now, and then we'll save you another $600. So call it vision casting refi strategy. I'll
Yeah.
put a link down below. We have a little 1.5 minute video where you can hear how that's articulated to a consumer. And you can also see a mortgage coach, TCA, how that's visually explained to a customer.
And let me just add, you're doing a couple more things. You are not you're not an advisor to your client. You're establishing yourself as the advisor to your
Ooh, I like
client,
that.
right?
Yeah.
The advisor to your client, right? Because they're going to hear a lot of things. You get trigger leads, you're going to get the servicing guy, you're going to get everybody else. How you position and show up with that kind of math, a graphic, a show. Here's what we could also do. I know when we closed your loan, you had this other credit debt, you have student debt, you have auto loan debt, you have this much equity. The equity's up 20% since just last year when I closed your loan the first time. How do we opportune that equity, cut your overall expense, pull that equity out, and oh, by the way, have an opportunity to reset at a point later, right? And whatever that sell is. Second thing, I think originators, Dave, need to think about, and I think this is not just originators, this is all the management teams, EPO and commission clawback policies. Third, renegotiation policies. So EPO and commission clawback obviously depends on the company you work for. It depends on when you close the original loan. Is it 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? Some companies do a brilliant job at negotiating those EPO hits down to shorter periods or reduce the amount of the hit in the negotiation before they sell the loan. Not all do. So you need to know what your rules are so that you don't think you're making a commission over here and you just got your old commission clawed back, right, in the process. Secondly, thinking about what are those policies. Third, once you know the policies, you then look in your database and your CRM, looking at closing dates on those customers to understand which customers are outside the EPO commission clawback strategy, right? And those that are inside, you're having a conversation, but you may not execute or close immediately. One, because it may not be in the consumer's interest, and two, it's probably not in your interest to do so. But you've got to have a strategy built by detail. And here's a little word, Dave, we've used a few times in these conversations: data. You got to look at the data. Don't be a blind squirrel who finds an occasional nut approach, right? Go out and know which of your customers are doable today, tomorrow, to Dave's point, lower rates. Is it a twofer? Is it a one-fer? The guy wants to wait. Okay. You might offer him other strategy. No, I'm going to wait till we get to 5.25. Okay. Then now I know. That's your deal. Secondly, any new customer that you do the two, like this gentleman's suggesting, when you put that loan in your CRM better have a EPO date in the data set.
Yeah.
Because when you go to do the second, there are some scenarios where rates could capitulate and drop in a hurry.
Right.
So now you're in a position where I just closed first refi. I took equity out. I paid off some debt. And now 60 days later, the spread between the 10-year treasury and the 30-year fixed has collapsed, which it will. At some point when it collapses, it'll go quickly. And you could be in the low fives tomorrow morning.
By the way, that is a question I had for you. So when it does start to compress from how high it is to norms, it'll happen quick, like weeks.
That's my view, because it's going to be a trigger that makes it compress. And once you disinflate the balloon, I think bond buyer.
That will happen? When what are
the bond buyer? The bond buyer has to be convinced that he's not going to get prepaid.
So probably 5-ish.
I mean, rates have to get, I think, sub 5.5 when that happens. But I think if and when it does,
so then they'll just go to 4. So like
I don't think it goes to 4, but I think what happens is your pricing compresses.
Well, there's about a point built in. We're about 100 basis
points. You're almost 2-point spread today. And history, you're a little north of 2 today. You were higher for a period of time. And history had you at 1.25 to 1.5, somewhere in that range on a kind of a trading range.
We got a solid 50 to 70 basis points. So
easily.
So like, let's say 5.5 is the number, though. That puts us at 3.
So you could go from 5.5 to 5 like that, right? When that happens. I mean, when I snap my fingers, I'm talking about weeks or a month, not 2 days. My point being is, you should have in your CRM as a standard data set, what's my EPO commission clawback date on Mr. Smith?
Yeah.
Because here's what's happening, Dave. Here's what I'm seeing happening a little bit. I don't think this is pervasive, but I've seen some trades happen where originators now, because of this boomlet, and they're looking at the EPO and commission clawback, they're leaving their company, going over to another company with their database, because a lot of databases can be rebuilt today, going back after those EPO customers. The company will get hit with an EPO hit, but they're outside the company. Very hard to claw back. And so, I mean, there's a bunch of things that I think, if you asked if I was a head of production, I'm thinking about all those things. And how do I educate my sales force as to not just go get loans, go get which loans? And what are the strategies around that?
Got it. And just a reminder to everyone that's our customer, we can help automate that. Mortgages under management, making sure that loan officers are getting the right alerts at the right time based off of a combination of market and internal buyback clauses and EPO clauses. So just know that, we put that in their mobile app, and we're starting to see rate and term refi triggers, and they're the ones that you want your loan officers to get. So just know that we automate that. Like, it's not like a CRM where you got to do a query. It's not like, oh, it starts a journey. It's like, loan officer, here's your call this morning. Here's your next best action, with a mortgage coach ready to present.
Dave, one other thing that I was just going to mention, this is, I think, an underutilized tactic that's a moneymaker. I'd ask all the originators that are watching this, think of all the leads you talked to last year where you did not get the deal. They likely traded somewhere. They traded at a higher interest rate than today. materially higher. I mean, we're down 150 basis points, materially traded higher. I would not, I hope in your database somewhere, you kept that lead and contact information, because I would be right out to those people as well. Not your customers, just your customers you closed, where you know exactly what the data is, but also those customers, because the vast majority of originators, in my opinion, are not responding to this urgency today. Today. I can't emphasize today enough. Do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Do it.
Got it. All right. So one last question on refis, and let's pivot to, winning refis and realtors, because I do believe there's a really big.
Yeah. By the way, I
grab
think
in
25 is
markets.
going to be killer on the purchase side.
Oh, yeah. 2025 is great. So in terms of comp, though, I mean, I am thinking that loan officers should really lean up their comp and go in with a refi. Is there anything they should be doing proactively with pricing? And I see you wobbling
Yeah.
your head. It's
Yeah.
maybe not. What's
I
your
think
pricing strategy?
yeah, I'm always nervous on this topic because I feel like I'm walking through a minefield at night with a blindfold on, wearing snowshoes.
That doesn't sound fun.
Paint that picture in your head just for a second, right? So, you step on the wrong piece, boom, there goes your left leg, right? And so remember that you cannot differentiate comp based on loan type.
Yeah, but I was talking cost, basis points, not,
No,
sorry,
no,
I used the word
no,
comp, but
no.
I'm just,
I'm talking
what would
about
you ask
cost
on a
basis
refi?
points. Yeah, I'm talking about cost basis points as well.
Okay.
And so what a number of companies have done successfully, and I think others have done it successfully, but perhaps inappropriately, is labeling that refi as a different type of lead, which has a different comp associated with it. And I think you're about to see some stuff in the news with a couple of big lenders where the CFPB has figured this out. And so, some leads are labeled as, internet lead. So I'm only getting paid 60 instead of 120. Except that the company doesn't have internet leads. That's a problem, right? So whatever that strategy is, I'm just going to admonish everybody to be legit, right? Be legit. And if you're not being legit, know that there's not just penalties for the company, there's criminal penalties associated with that. I mean, that's a problem. So just know what you're doing. And what I would say to you, Dave, the one that is absolutely legit and legal, is you could have a comp cap of X or Y. So on your bigger loans, we know that those prices, people with bigger loans and high FICOs get a better shake, period. It just happens. So your competition is going to lean out the price at certain loan sizes. You want to lean out your price, just put a comp cap on. You can do the math at $500, $600, $650,000 refi. Put a comp cap on, which by definition lowers your comp, expressed as basis points, and gives your company an opportunity to lean out the price, and everybody gets a chance to make a dollar. And so that's one approach. The other approach is it could be that your company has different lead mechanisms that these leads come in through and they differentiate the comp structure. God bless you. I assume your company's counsel signed off on it. It's all good. What you don't want to do is play games, because I think there's an awful lot of people watching. And let me give you a hint. I think the servicers, if they start losing deals this way, I think some companies will blow in other companies. I don't know that it's just the servicers. So that's my only admonition. Be legit.
It's come up a lot in the market.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pivot to purchase. So I've heard in multiple interviews that I've had and shop talk is the concern that some loan officers, my opinion, the majority of loan officers are going to start going asleep at the wheel with realtors.
Yes.
But the winning
Because of refi, you mean? Because of refis?
because they're going to be chasing refis.
Yeah.
And they're going to take their eye off
It's the crack cocaine effect, right? I mean, the
Right.
refi looks like crack. People get confused.
And we know this is going to happen, but I want you to, again, speak to head of production, regional loan officer, give them the Brian Hale message on like, hey, you can gain market share with realtors right now because one, there's less loan officers, and two, many loan officers are going to take the eye off the ball of realtors. How do you balance this dual opportunity of refis and realtors? What's the Brian Hale leadership
Yeah.
message?
Don't leave it to chance. Don't leave it to originators to self-regulate themselves. Don't leave it to, geez, I really hope this all works out. And oh, I got a loan today from an originator, so life must be good. It's not the amount of loans you closed. It's the amount of loans you should have closed if
Yeah,
fully optimized, right? That's the
interesting.
difference between good and great in our business. And so the prospect, and I've said this to you before, and I'm sure there are very talented and valuable regional and area managers in our business or divisional managers. I've met many of them. I'm still not sure in today's world what that job looks like unless you're a great recruiter and retainer and a coach, a show how, tell how, strategy. Let me help you be better. Let me help you get one more loan a month or two more loans a month type coach who's in the trenches, up to their eyeballs, showing how, thinking through strategies, demonstrating strategies, finding a place to try things, prove that it works, and then bring the entire world to see your mousetrap. You have a better mousetrap. Here's how it works, right? And so what I would have is I'd have a financial analyst who is in one of the data services, maybe multiple data services, your data service, whatever, helping originators identify the realtors in their market who are going to win, post the settlements, lower rates, higher inventory, consolidation of sales in the real estate space. You can spot the realtors who are going to win today. The only ones you miss might be the new people who show up and don't know any better and find a better way, find those people too. But you can spot the people who are truly doing transactions. You can identify the type of transactions they're doing. You can identify who they're doing them with, compare your products and services and approach to them, and have something of value when you come in. So I think part of it, Dave, all this to say, coach and lead from the front. Show
Coach and
how,
lead. Coach and
show
lead. I love
how, right? Be out there, demonstrate, find people in your group that are doing it right, and recognize those people to the rest of your group. Get them on a call, talk through strategies. And it just blows me away in the weekly roadmap when I talk about what I consider to be some really fundamental strategies, and people go, yeah, I'm aware of that, but boy, that looks hard. So there's really, because there's a really ugly four-letter word in our business that people sometimes are reluctant around. It's WORK, right? There is no easy button in this business. So it's we've talked about this before. You're the CEO of your own business as an originator. Are you taking at least a day a month, 5% of your time, one day a month, to analyze your lead source, the top of your funnel, what's happening, who are you calling on, why are you calling on, what kind of return are you getting from those folks? And oh, by the way, you have a refi strategy as well. And maybe if you have a PA, they're more focused on that and helping you execute on that. Have you thought about your comp strategy? Have you thought about your pricing strategy with your company? Do you know what the costs are? Do you know what your costs are? Do you know how you relate to your company? Those kinds of things, and what tweaks and adjustments? Or are you the blind squirrel looking for an occasional nut? And occasionally you run across a deal, right? Big diff. You know this. I mean, you talk to some of the best people in the industry every day. It's not by chance that they're this good.
Wow,
They have a
wow.
plan and they
Yeah,
execute every day maniacally, and they tweak and tweak and tweak and they self-assess, and then they work their ass off.
yeah. I on my post yesterday morning, I was thinking about what's going to be my every Monday. I try to do a producing managers,
I
and it
watch
was
you every Monday morning.
yeah, 10x is easier than 2x. So and I really believe that. I really believe that we're in a 2x market. We're entering a 2x market where everybody is going to do a little better. But I also believe that the people that what I heard Brian say was data-driven coaching and leading are going to win.
Work and work.
And they're going to have
Add some work to the recipe, right? There's
yeah,
no
they're
easy
going to have
button.
10x success. So Brian, so what's going on? What are some of the biggest highlights in the weekly roadmap? What's coming soon? You know, I want everybody in our community to know about your community. So give us some, you know, some highlights. I know I watched that interview you did with the CEO of Place,
Please.
and
Right.
I got a nugget. So anyone, if you've heard me
Yeah, look,
use the
we got a couple of great speakers coming up.
yeah.
We have Mitch Kiter coming
Oh,
up
man. Oh, man.
to talk about the commission settlement suits and what he's seeing from his chair as one of the top corporate lawyers and outside counsels to many companies about how to deal with this and the issues that are arising out of it. So he's going to come in and talk at an originator level about the kinds of things he's seeing and what your strategy should be. We have Heidi Iverson from MMI coming on, actually, I think this Friday, talking about the use of data. So we'll come back to that. I've got Ivy Zellman, who's one of the top housing analysts on Wall Street. She's been named the top female executive on Wall Street, I think 4 different times, to talk about what's happening more globally in the home building. She's a housing analyst as well as very knowledgeable around interest rates and things that are driving the home builder side, the realtor side. She follows title insurance companies and MI companies and a variety of things. So Ivy's coming on. We're going to have Alec Hansen, the chief marketing officer from Loan Depot, coming on and talking about strategies for originators from a marketing standpoint. We just had Joe Massey, a perennial $100 million player from Castle and Cook in Denver, on to talk about how he built $100 million a year business by teaching realtors, how to use finance strategies to build their business, and got himself certified by the state of Colorado to provide continuing ed credit while he teaches these courses. Does it twice a week. It's a $600,000 commission approach that's up on our site in the weekly roadmap. You can watch his presentation. We're actually going to do a little deal with Joe to make his courses available to our subscribers as part of that process. So, and we're going to use Joe as a coach more. We're actually going to set up a coaching session for people who want to follow his approach, get Joe on and help them in a deeper conversation than just the 40 minutes we had. And this guy is fabulous on video. He really gets this wired in. He is just so terribly not successful. He's spending a month in Europe right now, kind of recharging his batteries to go into the balance of this year and into 2025. But he's working from there. In fact, he's been wearing some of our map swag and taking videos from Greece and different places and sending them back to us. And the weekly roadmap is in Greece, right? And in Croatia and all these fun places he's going. So those are the kinds of speakers I'm going to continue to bring in. I'm going to bring in Laura Larea from the Money Store. She's the general counsel, has worked for me in the past. Again, thinking about compliance sounds like a really unsexy topic, but it's the kind of topic that can see how you look in orange, right? And so, again, at an originator level, breaking it down and talking about those kinds of things. We've got a variety of other speakers that we've lined up as well. In fact, we're about to put a piece out. One last thing, Dave, I know you have a lot of these folks as your clients. To the degree you're a mortgage broker that's going to go to the NAMBI conference in Las Vegas, I'm going to be a title and a name sponsor for the big party on Saturday night at the Omnia. We're going to have some tickets to give away. We're going to be wearing shirts with our logos in the back. As you know, I have a really broad back, so it ends up being a really big logo. Come see us. We're going to be in a cabana at the party, and look forward to talking to people.
What are the dates on that?
If you wouldn't ask me, it's the 18th through the 21st of October at Caesar's Palace. I'm told there's going to be 2,800 originators there. And there's not going to be 2,800 at the party. I think they can only fit like 800 in. So I've got some of the comp tickets out of it that we'll be giving away, and we'll be reaching out to people. But if somebody want to hear more about this and you're going to NAMBI, come see us and find us at the conference, and we'll see if we have any tickets left. We'll be glad to share them with you. So,
all right. Well, this has been an awesome update. I love doing this monthly. It's, official. We are in the market has shifted. Like
No doubt.
Yeah, so the shift bottom has been hit, shift has happened, game on. When the what is it? When the salmon are running, the bears don't
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah, when the
So
salmon are running, buy a pitchfork, right? I mean, so you can
yeah,
stab as many as you can, right? Don't take a dainty approach. Let me just say one other thing if I could, Dave. I know you want to wrap this. You know, I've had a lot of people in my social media feeds over the last 2 years going, man, Brian, when did you turn bearish? And it wasn't bearish. I just kept looking at the math, and it seemed like obvious to me that rates were going up, volume was coming down, and it was going to come down a lot more than people thought, right? In the process. Plus, as you know, I'm involved in a bunch of M&A deals. I've got a couple running right now. That one we just closed, two more that are on the table that we're working through, and those M&A deals are continuing, by the way. So that I just said what I knew and what I believed I knew, and it sounded bearish. I would say that I have changed and kind of, flip the switch the other way. I think the next 3 or 4 years, maybe 5, could be stupendous in our business. If you've been a survivor through these last couple of years, you have 100,000 fewer competitors at the street level today than you did 2 years ago, right? So the mere fact you survived, congratulations. You should feel really good about it. 2, to your point, Dave, and if you don't believe this, I'm telling you, every single thing in our business is changed. You need to evolve. You need to adapt and evolve to the new realities, whether it's the commission lawsuits, whether it's, refi boomlet, whether it's purchase, whether it's the millennials and Gen Zs have a different approach to buying, you name it, right? But if you can, and you do, and you think about this strategically and you work hard in this process, I think the future for the people in this business is unbelievably so bright. You should be wearing sunglasses. So that's hopefully a more positive message than I've given someone in the past, but we're not out of the woods yet. A lot of hard work to be done.
well, for everybody that's known Brian for as long as they have, he's typically a bear, and he is typically very pragmatic, and well, not typically, always. And so for to hear that type of excitement about the market ahead, the bull is on, and to hear that I believe that. I think
And I don't
on
think it'll
top
go in a
of the
straight
data,
line, right? Yeah. I mean,
no,
we're going to
no,
have
it's not
some
a straight
hits.
line. It's not a straight line, but the data is great. And then the technology that
Yes.
you have as
The
an industry has
access to
never been
data,
better. But
right?
loan officers, you need to adopt. You need to unlearn some bad habits. You need to relearn some new habits. And it's just this constant cycle of unlearn, relearn, and learning how to do things in the most
Dave, I've,
efficient.
I've used this quote with you before. I'll you say it one more time. It hangs on my wall here in my office, has for 40 years. Everybody wants to go to heaven and nobody wants to die. And all that quote means is everybody wants stuff in life. Many, I think most, are generally unwilling to pay the price for abject success. And then you interview these people all the time. You know that the most successful people in our business work at it hard, thoughtfully, strategically, constantly reassessing themselves and second guessing themselves. And it's oftentimes a fear of failure that drives them. That's been me my whole life. I grew up reasonably poor, on the poor end of the spectrum. And so the fear of being poor, drove me a lot, right, in my career. And so everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody wants to die. Focus on
Well,
that.
brother, I love that you commit so much time and energy to this community. Anyone watching this, follow this man on LinkedIn. Make sure you check out the weekly roadmap,
By the way, we're on Instagram,
weeklyroadmap.com.
we're on Facebook, we're on all the rest, but you go to my LinkedIn, you'll get it all. And I encourage you to go up to our website, mortgageap.com, and the link to the weekly roadmap is on there as well. And if we can ever help anybody, don't hesitate.
All right. Well, we'll see you in October. We have not scheduled the week. If you do have questions, put them down below. You watch this on YouTube. The links that we've talked about will be down in the show notes. And then down in comments, we love comments. If we said something positive that you got to take away from, give this a like, share it with your mortgage friends. This is a wrap, everybody. Take care and have a
Thanks,
wonderful
Dave.
week. Take care, Brian. Appreciate you, brother.